Hello and welcome to Expansion Revolution Nuggets. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's an exciting time. I am trying to empower you with some of the basic practical tips of how to end a year well. One of the things that I've experienced is that towards the end of the year, people are going through different emotions. Some feeling like failures, some feeling like the year just passed and they've not achieved anything. And in this series, I'm trying to empower you on how to reflect objectively over your experience over a year. Some of you are feeling good, you have done well, big up to you, you have done well for yourself. And some of you, you might be feeling like you are a loser, but maybe there are so many experiences that you have learned that can make your life better. And I don't want you to end the year feeling like a failure just because you didn't achieve a lot that needs to be done. But I am continuing. This is part 2 of how to end your year well. Now, number 4, we are looking at identifying patterns that do not work for you. So in order for you to finish the year well, one of the things that you need to do is to identify certain patterns that do not work well for your life. Now, this may be patterns in your behavioral framework where you recognize that whenever you act in this way, you don't get the results that you want. Sometimes it may be patterns of people who come into your life. I mean, towards the end of the year or mid-year, you find this type of people who normally come into your life and they push you or derail you out of your purpose, out of your dreams, and out of things that you wanted, and suddenly you follow them, and then by the time you wake up, the year is gone. You have not done things for yourself because you identify these patterns. These are more like sequences. These are more like, events that keeps on happening that are similar. You want to identify them so that you know exactly what to avoid. Some of us, sometimes in our life, as we progress, is that we keep on making the same mistake year after year because we never identify that there are certain patterns that seems to be following our life. It may be coming through behavior. It may be coming through people. It may be coming through processes in the name of how do we get work done. You'd always put a lot of energy, midway you stop rather than finishing projects. So if you recognize I have this tendency, now you can empower yourself even more, become more aggressive in terms of starting and finishing your project. So I'm challenging you, look at your life, identify patterns that do not work for you, and please be willing to unlearn them, be willing to throw them away, be willing to acknowledge that they have not worked for you. It is not part of life's a plan that we should get married to methodologies. Methodologies should keep on changing. Let's look at what works, and let's look at the season that God has put us on in order for us to drive to where we want. Number 2, which is number 5, I want you to identify changes that you don't normally react to or handle well. There are certain changes that sometimes they would kill us because we don't know how to adapt or how to react or how to avoid or how to deal with them. Part of what life entails is change. So there would be changes that will take place in a year. Some of them you would not like them. Some of them are not going to be good for you. Some of them are going to be good for you. They just want you to embrace them. Not every change is bad, and not every change that is good would come in as if it appears like it's good. Some of it would come in as if it's bad, but the ultimate aim, it will be to make you better. We need to recognize that God works within the parameters of change. Life, it's a flux, it's a continuous flow, and in the progression of life, there would be changes, and you have an obligation to adjust to how you change, how you do your things, and life is going to change. I mean, your children are going to change. How are you going to react towards that? I mean, your body size, your body is going to change. The body of your wife or your husband or people in your life is going to change. Some dreams are not going to hit home at time, and there will be certain things among them that needs to be changed. So change is going to come. Houses and residence and jobs would have to be changed. And in the progression of change, you need to learn to adjust your mind to go with what works rather than to get stuck with what has been working for you. So that's a very important key that I think we need to recognize, that in the progression of us becoming better, we need to identify patterns that do not work for us, and we need to also identify changes that are not good for us. Life entails changing, and in the same space of looking at the changes that sometimes kills you or disturbs you or delays you. Also identify changes that would normally propel you forward. They are more like your advantage. They are more like they work for you. Knowing changes that whenever you make them, your life seems to be becoming much more better. It's key to your progress. And this is wisdom session. I want you to recognize that as much as God wants to bless you and wants to give you a great year experience, you have the responsibility to identify certain patterns and certain changes and to align them with your dream and to be able to know them, that you know that the moment you entertain people like this, they're going to derail you. The moment you start doing things this way, you're going to dump everything and never go forward. So know the type of changes that when you make them and say, I'm going to begin to be prayerful, I'm going to begin to talk and interact with people who add value into my life, I'm going to begin to avoid going to places that do not add value to my life. When you do that, you begin to accelerate and make progress in your life. Choose changes that can help your life to become better. This is wisdom for ending the year right. We need to be careful of what changes do we want to introduce. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to be doing the last session on part number 3 of how to end well. And I hope this is blessing you. Please like, subscribe, share, and please tell us your story of how this platform is impacting your life. Otherwise, this is Expansion Revolution Nuggets, and I'm OJ Matiba. Thank you for joining me.